Hold your horses. Abe's a coming. Fort Chimera, the moniker of his patchworked home, composed of various scrap pieces from the junkyards and scrap heaps. He unfastened the bar over the steel door with the faded Caterpillar name. In his threshold stood Carmen Valles, dressed in sweats and a tee. A rarity for sure. And a strange young man dressed in green leather. In one hand, the boy held a leather-bound journal, and a duffel bag in the other. A long sword was slung across his shoulder. Well, this ought to be real good. He can help Amy. Abe gave the young man another once-over before looking back at Carmen. So I reckon this Cameletonian expatriate can keep us safe from the beast, eh? She is the beast. What the hell are you talking about? The beast has already got her. The stone, the gemstone in her chest, is what I believe to be some sort of soul conduit for transmutation purposes. Amy is being forcibly evolved into the beast's mate. Well, you can keep it from happening, right? Like, get that stone off her, stop the mutation, evolution, or whatever, right? You do not understand. It is you who doesn't understand. I risked my ass to get you out of the slammer, and you will help her. And you're going to do it without yelling at me. I am in your debt. I will try to find a way, any way possible, to save your friend. Why you here, Shay? We need a place to crash, lay low till the heat's cooled their jets. Atticus stepped backward, his hand on his sword. I will not cower. I will not retreat. The battle has just begun. The beasts must be stopped. The fate of all worlds depend on it. And I know the beasts still lurk about this town, somewhere. Relax. Nobody's cowering. We just need to figure out our next play. Sounds like a line out of a Quentin Tarantino flick. You don't like old Abe. You think he's full of mad. Why would you want to crash, lay low, here? 'Cause everybody knows I don't like you. They know I think you're full of shit. It's the last place they'll look for me. And? You give a shit. Merde. What happens to Amy? And I'm telling you, this guy here is the one that can help her. Bien, entree. Have a seat. I'll pack us a bowl. Zack stood at the end of Scooter's bed. He waggled his fingers in a farewell gesture, right before his weird ghostly image died out and faded into blank space. For several frighteningly drawn-out moments, Scooter remained silently frozen and horrified, but also in awe. And not only from the knowledge that he'd just been blown by some kind of demon, but also by an incredible, awkward hum sizzling through him. The muscles in his arms and legs still vibrated with a feeling of numbness, as if leather tourniquets had been fastened around his limbs, cutting off the blood to all his extremities. Arms, hands, legs, feet. Even his chest hummed with a painful numbing sensation. And Scooter shuddered when his wild imagination gave birth to the image of 1,000,000 ants swarming his rib cage. Crawling, crawling, crawling. Then natural sensations began to seep back into his body. And it was a good sort of pain. A feeling of euphoria, of raw power, an intimidating but exhilarating energy. And it was starting to course through him, through his body and his bloodstream and his mind, even his very soul. Scooter curled his fingers and toes, squeezing and releasing over and over, until feeling slowly returned to his extremities. As the blood pulsated back into his hand, loading his fingers, turning his skin reddish, there also came an intense heat that's only felt when hovering your hand over an oven burner or a campfire. There were the grayed, faded silhouettes of flames enshrining his entire hand, and tongues of static-colored fire licking at the air above his fingernails. When he blinked, the distant fire had vanished. Trick of the eyes. Bending of the lights. The world was plagued with illusions. People thought they were seeing things, most often out of the corner of their eyes, as if there was this whole other plane of existence that was only perceivable from the corners of eyes. Things moved. Things that shouldn't move. Or things were moved by unseen forces, and people would attribute this to ghosts or poltergeists. But wasn't all that stuff fake? Science couldn't prove it, and therefore it couldn't be absolutely real. Just illusions. He slid the left leg off the bed, waited, shimmied and followed with the right. Sitting up, he pushed off the mattress. His numb feet held his balance for a fraction of a moment. Then he collapsed to the floor, nearly face-planting to the wood. There were black marks etched into the wood. It looked like someone had taken a charcoal pencil and drawn on the mahogany planks. Filius Aurorae, Isaiah 14 and 13, DCLXVI, Roman numerals. But what did it all mean? The Romans, they spoke Latin, the language of power. He took a breath, paused, and forced himself to his hands and knees, and in this position crawled along the wood floor, slow and easy, until he reached the wall. Flipping to sit on his rear, he propped his back against the corner of the room and hugged his knees to his chest. A cold chill swept over Scooter's naked body. Goosebumps riddled his legs, arms, neck, and stomach. Nausea swirled in his abdomen while bile inched up his throat. His gaze swept to the dagger on the bureau. Tobias's dagger. Whoever Tobias was. Moonlight piercing through the bedroom window, glinting off the blade, served as a guiding light. He trained an intent focus on the handle of the archaic blade. Raw power hummed, burned, throbbed from the weapon. Vibrant energy almost leapt from the weapon, and Scooter began to notice the coils of feisty power running up and down the blade with the excited spirit of living creatures. Though the energy had not existed, or at least not to Scooter's previous perception, it felt so natural and commonplace to behold it now. He did not fear it. Not one bit. On the contrary, he craved to wield it, wanted to worship it. Again, that intense heat touched his bare skin. Swollen droplets of hot, salty sweat poured down his forearms, dripping from his armpits. His legs suddenly became drenched. The junction between his testicles and anus itched severely. His scalp itched too, as if lice had swarmed his head. Perspiration dripped down his forehead and into his tired and fatigued eyes. He attempted to ignore the sting of the salt and concentrated, channeling his newly realized power. With an uncurled arm, he reached through the darkness. The dagger shot off the bureau and slapped against Scooter's open palm. This strange but wonderful power gifted to him by an evil entity not only gave him the ability to move objects with sheer will, but the power also gave him innate wisdom. Filius Aurorae, son of dawn, morning star. For now, he realized this dagger he held in his palm was not only rare and beautiful, but it was meant for something epic. The blade was a weapon of great worth, and Zack must never know of its existence. The dagger must be hidden, at least until Scooter could figure out exactly why it was given to him and what purpose the dagger was to serve. Scooter folded his arm and held the blade against his bare chest. The cold metal stifled his anxiety. What did Zack want from Scooter? What would Zack do if Scooter resisted? Scooter rolled onto his hands and knees. He crawled, inching forward across the room. The handle of the dagger still gripped in his hand, the blade tapping against the floor. He reached the ladder-back chair and pulled himself into it. He set the dagger on the desk to the right of the mouse and turned on his computer. Tonight, he had homework to do, and it might have been the most important homework he'd ever done. Abe set 2 bottles of beer on the aged coffee table. Holding his own beer, he dropped into his brown plaid recliner. The bottle balanced on one knee. Sitting beside Atticus on a rank-smelling olive plaid couch, Carmen grabbed one of the beers and guzzled it half gone.
I busted him out of the jailhouse.
A quiet, healthy burp erupted from somewhere deep. She set the empty bottle on the coffee table.
She's still got that stone embedded in her chest, but the doc says she's gonna be okay.
I know.
You went to see her?
Nope.
Then how do you know she's gonna be okay?
I'm always watching over my girl. Don't need no doctor to tell me it'll all be just fine and dandy, 'cause old Abe, he got the 6th sense.
The sick sense or the 6th sense?
Abe got the 6th sense too. But once you seize it, you can't seize it again. It all ruined for you then, Cher. Abe just good at knowing what you people always getting up to.
Creepy. Cool, but creepy.
From the side pocket of his armchair, he slid a small tin box and bulldog pipe.
So, you tell old Abe what exactly it is you plan on doing to make our Amy all better.
I am a paladin, one of the twin warriors prophesied to destroy the beasts.
That same old beast that be after our Amy, that right?
How do you know a beast is after her?
All Carmen got from the old coon-ass was a sly and dismissive nod and a wave of his wrinkled hand, before he turned his full attention onto Atticus. In the Breve de Diviniat Sacralorium of the 12th century, the prophet Ostrachild Goiswinth made the first prediction that out of the stars shall descend the 2-souled defilers, whom once ceased the purities of kingdoms lost upon the pre-dawn of the righteous orders. But upon the returning descent there shall be born, also from the stars, the mighty righteous twins, whom together witness the absolute abolishing of the wicked beasts from black stars.
Ah, the old centuries of divinity. Ostrachild made for mighty fine trips.
You have read the sacred text of which I speak?
Old Abe might have perused it once or twice along the way, from the tadpole hole to here.
If you've truly read the text as you claim, then you would know that if the beasts are not stopped, they would bring complete destruction to this world and many more.
How's that?
How what?
Abe slipped the stem of his pipe between his lips and leaned over the side of the chair to blow the leftover ash from the bowl. Carmen scowled in disgust. The ash floated to the worn wood floor to join, probably many years' worth, of previously discarded dottle. He opened the tin and lightly pinched a cluster of tobacco. Abe sprinkled it into his pipe. Taking shallow puffs, he lit the tobacco in a circular motion.
How is this beast gonna destroy all worlds?
Why does it matter how? The point is, he's after Amy, and we have to stop.
Abe held up a hand, palm out. Carmen's posture went rigid.
Did you just shush me?
Atticus put a hand on her forearm, then returned his gaze at Abe.
You have mage blood, yes?
My blood is my blood. Now answer the question.
The last known mating of the Geminus beasts was during the time of Sodom and Gomorrah, and I presume you know how that encounter with the evil creatures concluded, with unruly abominations and towers in flame. I know. I was... Atticus rose to his feet, full of restlessness. Stolidly, Abe continued to puff on his pipe. He blew a slow-moving spiral of smoke from his nose and the corner of his mouth.
Abe fancies a good bedtime story, mon ami.
Carmen half expected to see wisps of smoke twisting out of Atticus's ears and under his leather-bound neckline. The mating of such beasts are very primal. Atticus began to pace. The carnality of their mating is visceral. It is physically compelling, not only to them but to all within close proximity. If the beasts were allowed to engage in their primal lusts, sexual pandemonium of a biblical proportion would ensue. Your sleepy town would devolve into crimes of murderous and perverse atrocities, akin to only the kinds written of in antediluvian ages. Abe swigged from his bottle of beer. Atticus and Carmen waited while he tamped the tobacco in the bowl of his pipe. Abe stared at them both.
Only affects those within close proximity, no?
That's right.
And by close proximity, you mean...
Abe arched a silver brow.
40, maybe 50 yards? We don't really know for sure.
You don't know much, but got no qualm about pulling these pearly turds of wisdom out of your ass. But what you mean by saying these beasts may destroy the world? Surely the entire world would not be within a few yards of these beasts at the time of their... How did you call that? Oh yeah, primal lusts.
Are you mocking my faith? The elders of my order are most dedicated to the study of the ancient tomes not even privy to the public realms of this world.
Old Abe done read all your dusty old books, and he wasn't all that impressed. Had me a much better old time reading that Edge series by George Gilman. Say, mon ami, did you know that Gilman had never written himself a western before he wrote the Lona? Ain't that just a kick in the teeth? How them people can go and make up shit like that about things and times they never did seen.
I place faith within the order and the forefathers, and the prophets of the past. Ostrachild Goiswinth predicted that this would occur and that twin paladins would be born to fight the beasts.
So it is by way of faith that you condemn these creatures.
He gave Atticus a sidelong glance.
Tell me, what crime have these present-day beasts committed to be declared hunted? Little more than human ego and big old dick measuring, ain't that it? You go ahead and confess now, you hear? Y'all afraid them ugly old beasts gonna have some bigger crawdaddy claws than yours?
Have you not heard a word I've spoken?
A creature put on this earth by God, given primal instincts by this same God, has succumbed to these instincts. But the animal is thought to be ill-conceived? God must have done got himself loaded, wasted, and stoned on that seventh day and popped out these nasty foul beasts. And now I reckon you're God's cleanup crew, sweeping up the clumsy spills.
We all make mistakes, even God. The whole reason behind the Great Flood was to drown out the mistakes and keep the good.
Andrea Kennedy Yates drowned her 5 mistakes in the bathtub. So I reckon I can see how this god of yours likes to go killing people and things.
We are all compelled by sin, but we deny our impulses for the sake of ourselves as well as those around us, and we must only kill
in the name of God. Not a kick in the teeth. Poor big-titted Sally.
Atticus grabbed a bottle from the low coffee table in the center of the room. He sniffed the opening before taking a small sip. Swallowing hard, he set the bottle back. Sinful concoctions, compulsions, are not of God, and to imply such a thing is nothing short of blasphemy.
Not so, little Johnny. I had a little black stripper over here just last Thursday night, and she really taught me the meaning of blasphemy.
That's bruto, dude.
Atticus stared blankly at the old man-whore of a bastard. Sure, it was public knowledge that Abe had probably slept with every hooker, stripper, and desperate woman at least once, and some twice. Rumors even circulated around the Valles farms that her Aunt Karina had ridden the Cajun cockadilly a few times. But that didn't mean Carmen wanted to hear about it, because there was some mental images that only an SOS pad and a gallon of bleach and some shrooms would get rid of. Abe slipped another matchstick from the side pocket of the recliner. He swiped it on the arm and relit the leaves.
You sure these lustful creatures are the beasts your prophecy tells of?
I saw them with my own eyes. They are feline of physical nature, panther, more precisely, but not of any panther species indigenous of this planet. Abe chewed on the stem of his pipe.
Enough with the beyond the stars and from far, far away monkey-handed shit. Might be these creatures come beaming down from a sardine can lit up like a Christmas tree, but they still be creatures all the same. Beasts come in all manners of shapes and sizes, and the only real difference between them is the size of the gun needed to lay them down.
There's something else. He bent over and picked the bottle of beer up again, and this time he swigged from it hard. The flavor, strangely exotic, actually tasted better this second time, so he held fast to the bottle. Something else is looming out there, somewhere beyond our world, and I fear it may be even more nefarious than the Geminists themselves.
And what's that?
I believe it is something called the Dark Trinity.